इन्वायरमेंटल मूवमेंट्स पे, ठीक, इन्वायरमेंटल मूवमेंट्स इन इंडिया हैव प्लेड ए सिग्निफिकेंट इन प्रोटेक्टिंग नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज, कंजर्विंग बायोडाइवर्सिटी एंड प्रमोटिंग सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट। ठीक, आइए देखते हैं। उसी तरीके का एक मूवमेंट था चिपको मूवमेंट, 1973 में हुआ था। द चिपको मूवमेंट वाज ए फॉरेस्ट कंजर्वेशन मूवमेंट दैट बिगेन इन 1973 इन गढ़वाल हिमालय। कहाँ है ये? उत्तराखंड, इंडिया में, गढ़वाल हिमालय। द वर्ड चिपको मीन्स टू हग in Hindi and symbolizes the villagers hugging trees to prevent them from being cut down. Origin कहाँ से है? The movement gained momentum on 26 March 1974 when Gaura Devi, a tribal woman, led the group of women from Reeni village in Garhwal to hug trees, preventing loggers from cutting them. ठीक है, these women belong to illiterate tribal and village communities, but took a strong stand to protect their traditional forest rights. The protest was non-violent and involved physically embarrassing trees to save them from being felled. Significance क्या होगा? The movement was a symbol of resistance against exploitation of forest resources. A symbol of resistance against the exploitation of forest resources. It is regarded as the beginning of the modern Indian environmental movement. It highlighted the role of women in environmental conservation. The movement was not just ecological but also social, aiming to protect the livelihoods of people dependent on forests. Slogan क्या था? The movement popularized the slogan, "Ecology is a permanent economy." This slogan reflects the philosophy of sustainable environment practices lead to long-term economic stability. आउटकम क्या हुआ? द मूवमेंट लेड द बैनिंग ऑफ ट्री फेलिंग इन द हिमालयन रीजन बाय इंडियन गवर्नमेंट, इन्फ्लुएंस सब्सिक्वेंट इन्वायरमेंटल पॉलिसीज एंड इंस्पायर्ड अदर मूवमेंट लाइक एपिको मूवमेंट। इसी तरीके से चिपको के बाद एपिको मूवमेंट भी शुरू हुआ। चिपको मूवमेंट कैन बी सीन एज गांधीयन वे ऑफ प्रोटेस्ट, emphasizing non-violence and peaceful resistance. It drew attention to the gendered dimensions of environmental struggle, since women, as primary fuel and fodder collectors, bore the brunt of forest degradation. The movement raised awareness about deforestation's impact on soil erosion, floods, and ecological balance. Narmada Bachao Andolan was initiated against the construction of a series of large multipurpose dams on the Narmada River, primarily the Sardar Sarovar Dam. It started in 1980s and was spearheaded by Medha Patkar, along with supporter of social activities, with the support of social activists like Baba Ante. Objective क्या था? To halt the displacement of thousands of tribal and farming communities living along the river, to prevent submergence of forest, fertile agricultural land, and cultural heritage. Method क्या? Non-violent resistance, protests, hunger strikes, public meetings, and legal battles. The movement also highlighted flaws in the resettlement and rehabilitation policies of the affected people. Significance क्या हुआ? One of the longest and most intense environmental movements in India, raised global awareness about development versus displacement issues. Though the dam was eventually built, the movement created a significant dialogue on sustainable development and social justice. ठीक है, फिर आता है अपना अपीको मूवमेंट. Apiko movement was launched in Karnataka to save Western Ghats forest from lodging and deforestation. The name Apiko means to embrace in Kannada, inspired by Chipko movement. It began as a response of commercial exploitation of natural resources by government, which caused depletion of forest cover and threatened the livelihoods of local people. किसने वो किया? Leadership initiated by Pandu Rang Hegde in Uttar Kannada district. ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? कंजर्वेशन, टू हॉल्ट कमर्शियल लॉगिंग एंड सेव नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज, अफॉरेस्टेशन, प्रमोटिंग planting of native trees, awareness, educating people about the importance of forests. Method: villagers hug trees to stop them from being felled. People demonstrate and awareness campaigns highlighting forest conservation. Impact क्या हुआ? Ban on tree felling in some areas. Forest policies in Karnataka is influence forest policies. ठीक, ये हुआ. अब आते हैं हम लोग क्वेश्चंस पे. इकोलॉजी इज ए परमानेंट इकोनॉमी. द स्लोगन ऑफ विच मूवमेंट? चिपको मूवमेंट का. द स्लोगन ecology is permanent economy is associated with Chipko movement. This slogan signifies that protecting the environment is essential for maintaining long-term economic stability. The movement emphasized that sustainable use of natural resources is crucial for economic well-being. ये 1973 में स्टार्ट हुआ गढ़वाल हिमालयस पे. ठीक, गौरा देवी जी ने मतलब स्टार्ट किया था. और हक करके देखिए, टू प्रोटेक्ट ट्रीज फ्रॉम बीइंग कट डाउन बाय फॉरेस्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स. वोमेन embraced या hugged the trees to protect them from loggers. Slogan: it highlights that conservation of forest is not just an ecological necessity but also an economic one. Forest provide fodder, fuel and water, crucial for rural economy. Outcome क्या हुआ? Led to a ban on tree felling in some Himalayan regions. अदर मूवमेंट्स: पिको मूवमेंट 1983 में कर्नाटक वेस्टर्न घाट. पांडुरंग हेगड़े जी ने नेतृत्व किया. चिपको की ही तरह था. नॉट डायरेक्टली एसोसिएटेड विद इकोलॉजी इज परमानेंट इकोनॉमी बट इंस्पायर्ड बाय चिपको. नर्मदा बचाओ आंदोलन 1985. नर्मदा रिवर सेंट्रल इंडिया प्लेस. मेधा पाटकर और बाबा आमटे लीड कर रहे थे. Opposed construction of dams on the Narmada River to save the displacement of tribal people and environmental damage. Method: non-violent protest, legal battles, public awareness campaigns. ठीक. चिपको मूवमेंट इज रिलेटेड टू प्लांट कंजर्वेशन. चिपको मूवमेंट किससे रिलेटेड है? प्लांट कंजर्वेशन से. Primary goal was to protect trees and forest from commercial logging. Movement highlight the vital role of forest. गौरा देवी जी ने वो किया था, स्टार्ट किया था 1973 में. गढ़वाल हिमालयस. गढ़वाल हिमालयस उत्तराखंड. Why other options are incorrect? टाइगर प्रोजेक्ट 1973 में लाया गया. Related the conservation of tigers and their habitat under Project Tiger 1973. Aims to protect the Bengal tiger from extinction by creating tiger reserves. Crocodile conservation. Focus on protection of crocodile species like gharial. Initiated in the 1970s under Crocodile Breeding and Management Project. Unrelated to Chipko movements aimed to tree conservation. Plant production refers to biological process of plant propagation. ठीक है. The role of women in environmental movement. Chipko movement is often celebrated, highlighting active role of women in grassroots environmental activism. जैसे गौरा देवी जी and her fellow villagers. Mainly women were at the forefront, showcasing that those are the most dependent on forest resources and were most invested in their conservation. Gandhian ideals in environmental protest. Chipko movement's non-violent resistance was inspired by Gandhian philosophy. It demonstrated that local community involvement, peaceful protests could be powerful tools against environmental degradation. Long-term impact of Chipko. The movement influenced India's forest policy, leading to the adaptation of social forestry and inclusion of local communities in forest management. Inspired later movements like Apicto movement and even the Silent Valley movement Kerala में. ठीक है, तो ये हम लोग का ख़त्म होता है। थैंक यू, बाय बाय।